Did you know that Marnz Malone was stabbed over 20 times and left for dead? Marnz Malone is currently one of the hottest rappers in the game right now, with his prison freestyles and mixtapes bringing in millions of views. But not many people know why Marnz is in jail. Let's look at his case and the surrounding events that happened near to land him in jail. Marnz's real name is Kimani Shaw. He grew up in Birmingham, a city with a long bloody history of gang violence, from the Peaky Blinders days to more recently the Burger Bar and Johnson crews who fought a violent war on the streets of Birmingham. Marnz was a gang member repping the B19 postcode of Birmingham. His gang had a number of disputes with a few rival gangs in the neighbouring areas and postcodes. Marnz was an active participant in the drug dealing and violent crimes that him and his gang did. And it was this willingness to be violent which would lead to him being stabbed 20 times. On the 6th of May 2019, Marnz would ride his bike into the territory of the B16 gang in Whitmore Street, Hockley. This is an area where Marnz had issues with people, so he made sure he was armed with a gun just in case he was to run into rivals. Shortly after 5 PM, Marnz had an altercation with the occupants of a passing Honda car. He pointed a gun at the rival gang members, but as he tried to pull the trigger, his gun jammed. His failure to fire the gun allowed those in the car the opportunity to regain control of the situation. They got out of the car and chased Marnz and eventually cornered him in a nearby underpass. He was stabbed 20 times and left for dead by his rivals. He was rushed to hospital and they put him in intensive care fighting for his life. Within 24 hours, some of Marnz's friends would go and kill someone in revenge for him being stabbed. 23-year-old Dante Mullings was a rival gang member who had links to the people responsible for stabbing Marnz. Dante was also involved in high-level drug dealing and violent crimes. Had he not been killed, he would have been jailed for life for the murder of another man, Anthony Sargent, in 2018. On May the 7th, 2019, Dante Mullings was sitting in a parked Vauxhall Corsa near Hockley Circus. A Volkswagen Passat pulled up alongside them, and a gunman opened fire into the vehicle, firing at least 8 bullets into the car. Dante was shot in the lower back, the driver was shot in the head, and a third man was shot in the buttocks. All 3 men would get out of the car and run away. The driver was miraculously able to walk himself to accident and emergency for medical attention. The third man survived. Dante ran but collapsed a short while later and died from his injuries in hospital. Once Marnz Malone was out of the intensive care unit, police would go on to arrest and charge him with firearm possession. In court, Marnz Malone was found guilty of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Since he's been locked up, Marnz has built himself up as a rapper and is now a household name in the UK rap scene. As for the killing of Dante Mullings, 4 men would be arrested and found guilty of murder. Dior Jackson was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 29 years. Ihsan Bernard was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 29 years. Amani Bernard Sewell was found guilty of murder and also sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 29 years. Ayub Mahmood was found guilty of murder and also sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 26 years. Follow the page and leave a comment on any other criminal cases you'd like to see on the channel.